Can martial arts actually save someone's life? This week, the world lost Hayden Panettiere at 36 years old, an actress who, for years, spoke openly about addiction, depression, and loss. The official cause of death has not been confirmed, but her story raises a question that hits close to home for everyone in this community. After decades in martial arts, we've seen people come through these doors dealing with addiction, depression, anger, loneliness, and loss, and training gave some of them something they didn't have before. That's what we want to talk about today. People often believe they need to feel motivated before changing their lives. The problem is that motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes depending on our mood, circumstances, sleep, stress, and countless other factors. Martial arts teaches a different principle: discipline. You do not train exclusively on the days when you feel energetic and excited. There are nights when you are tired, when you had a hard day, when staying home feels easier. Yet, you show up because training has become part of your routine, and this teaches an important lesson that extends far beyond the mat. Sometimes you perform the healthy behavior first, and your emotional state may begin to follow. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. That is something no motivation poster can teach you, but 60 minutes on the mat 3 times a week can. Depression, addiction, chronic stress, and major life changes can disrupt everyday routines. When everything falls apart, even the simplest decisions become hard. One of the most difficult aspects of depression is that many of the behaviors associated with a healthier life become harder to do. It becomes harder to exercise, harder to eat well, harder to sleep, harder to leave the house, and then the same cycle again the next day. Martial arts introduces a simple structure into that chaos. There is a class on Tuesday and Thursday. There is a place to be, and your coaches and training partners will be there. Eventually, training begins influencing decisions outside the academy as well. You may begin sleeping earlier because you want energy for morning class. You may begin eating differently. Small decisions made consistently. Structured physical activity can sometimes help interrupt that pattern by giving someone a specific reason to move and a specific place to be. You can run alone. You can lift weights alone. Martial arts is different because progress depends on interaction. You need coaches, training partners, and teammates. And over time, these people begin to know you. Your coach recognizes when you arrive. Your training partners remember your struggles, your small victories, and countless ordinary training sessions. Then, if you suddenly stop coming, somebody may ask, "Where have you been?" For a person experiencing isolation, that feeling of being noticed can be meaningful. A healthy martial arts academy brings together people who might otherwise never meet. On the mat, many of the distinctions that exist outside the academy become less important. Everyone struggles, everyone taps, everyone gets back up, and gradually, you become part of something larger than yourself.
Hello guys, this is Derek Cavallo from Athlas Training Team, and here in one more video of that series of questions that we already had in the past videos, we've got a new question about jiu-jitsu. This question right here: does jiu-jitsu make you mentally tougher? A lot of people view jiu-jitsu as this brute sport, as this 99% physical sport, this tough man sport. But in reality, jiu-jitsu is almost 100% mental. It's an eternal way of controlling your impulses. It's to know when to calm down, to know when to breathe, to know when to act, to know when to wait. So that search in knowing what to do things, when to do things, it's all mental. Some people ask, what is mentally tough? Controlling your impulses is something that you must be tough to do, right? Sometimes you're fighting against someone who's rude. You're fighting against someone, you're rolling against some training with somebody that has a huge ego or that does things you don't like. You need to calm down. You need to be tough mentally. You can't just, by impulse, go over and say the guy something or be angry at him or be aggressive towards him. You have to be able to control your impulses, to find calmness in chaos. Jiu-jitsu is called the gentle art, knowing that it is a lot physical. But yes, it does make you mentally tough. It makes you calm down in moments that you never even thought about being calm. Your arm's almost breaking, your neck is almost here, you're almost going as deep, but you must find yourself in that position of, I know what to do. I've learned this before. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and that applies in life. Sometimes you're in work, but you want to pee so bad. And you're like, wait, I can't right now. Let me breathe. Let me solve this problem. And it's not just jiu-jitsu. The ability to be calm under pressure, the ability to be calm and to find that patience in chaos is a thing that you have to have throughout your whole life. So if you say, what is the best sport? Have tough mentality? Does jiu-jitsu make you mentally tough? The answer is 100%. Of course. Jiu-jitsu is the sport that will practice your patience, your breathing, and of course, the toughness of your mentality.
One of the things that makes martial arts different from simply going to a gym is this. It forces you to be completely present. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu forces practitioners to engage with the present moment. When you are working to pass someone's guard or trying not to get submitted, there is very little mental space for anything else. For that period of training, your mind has an immediate task in front of it. You are required to participate in what is happening right now. For someone who spends their days overwhelmed by anxiety or dark thoughts, spending an hour completely engaged in the present can provide a very different mental experience. It does not eliminate life's problems, but it gives your mind somewhere else to be, even if only for an hour. And sometimes that hour is exactly what someone needs, and the science supports this. A 2024 study, one of the largest of its kind, analyzed 218 research projects involving over 14,000 participants. The conclusion: regular physical activity produces meaningful reductions in depressive symptoms. But we should be precise. Exercise is not a replacement for therapy or medical treatment. Martial arts should never be presented as a cure for depression, addiction, anxiety, or other mental health conditions. What we can say is that it can become one component of a healthier lifestyle. And what martial arts specifically offers, beyond the physical exercise, is a combination of structure, learning, personal challenges, accountability, and social interaction, all at the same time. Inside a martial arts academy, you are never invisible. Your coach recognizes when you arrive and when you don't. Your training partners depend on you being there. You have a role on that mat. Over time, a person who repeatedly thinks, "I can't do this," begins collecting evidence that challenges that belief. They finished the class. They came back the next week. They earned a stripe. Perhaps one of the most meaningful victories is simply showing up on a day when staying home would have been easier. Little by little, I can't can begin becoming maybe I can. Hayden Panettiere's willingness to speak publicly about depression and addiction reminds us that mental health struggles do not always have a visible face. Someone can be successful and still struggle. Someone can have money, family, friends, or millions of followers and still experience depression, addiction, or isolation. We should not use her past to speculate about her death, but we can use the conversation surrounding her life to remember something. Sometimes the person beside us may be fighting something we cannot see. Ask your friend how they are doing. Check on the teammate who suddenly stopped training. Make the phone call. Invite someone to class. And when someone needs professional help, encourage them to seek it. Martial arts also teaches you how to deal with pressure, not just on the mat, but in life. In boxing, your attention remains on distance, timing, footwork, defense, technique, and your opponent. In jiu-jitsu, someone is on top of you trying to submit you. You have to breathe. You have to think. You have to find a way out. And every time you survive a round, every time you don't quit when it gets hard, you build something. A kind of resilience that carries into every other part of your life. Lives are often changed through small decisions. Can martial arts save your life? Sometimes what changes a life isn't one big moment. It's the decision to keep showing up. Exercise can improve both your physical and mental well-being, helping reduce stress, build resilience, and create healthy routines. But if you're facing depression, anxiety, or emotional pain, please remember that exercise is only one part of the journey. Seeking help from a doctor or mental health professional is a sign of strength, not weakness. You don't have to go through it alone.